r/AskReddit by Reddify. Who was the smartest person you ever met? How did you know? I don't know the details like if he graduated early or whatever, but in college a high school senior was in my Calculus 3 class. A little bit into the first class we noticed he wasn't taking notes. The professor even asked him if he needed a pen or something. He was a goofy awkward kid, but kind of endearing. He said he didn't need to take notes and we all kind of laughed a little. The professor said, well, okay, but I really suggest you take notes, and continued the class. This kid never took notes. Didn't even bring a notebook to class. But got 100% on every assignment and test. I swear you could see him just absorbing the information. He would sit there fidgeting with his hands working things out. The professor would give us a problem on the board expecting us to take some time to work it out. The kid would stare at the board for 30 seconds, raise his hand, and have the correct answer. The first few classes it was kind of annoying, but then it became just impressive. I sometimes wonder where that he is now. My dad went to Harvard from a small farming town of 200 people. Read more books about more topics than I could ever count. Resume 4 pages long. But never, ever treated a person like they were dumb, or that he was better than them. Could teach anything to any person of age, and have them understand it without being condescending in the slightest. That's what made him smarter than anyone I had ever met. I got to meet Bill Gates. He was tuned out, but if you said something smart, he would suddenly focus on you and hone in on what you were saying. Like a listening device that seems like furniture until you awaken it. So sharp. If you are enjoying the video, please give a thumbs up and leave a comment. Join my Discord server, link in the description. Debate assistant coach at my college. He won worlds in his years debating. He had a way in speaking that was so damn concise, but well obvious that he was extremely competent in what he spoke on. I thought he was just your standard assistant coach until after our first tournament, where many students were approaching him as a celebrity and praising him. It was almost intimidating to be around him as it felt that there was nothing you could say to him of value. He was one of the nicest people you could ever meet, however, and probably inspired me to continue debating until he passed away the following year. Not much compared to others, but 2 of my friends are really smart. One of them got a master's from Oxford University in advanced mathematics. They contacted him to offer him a place. He's a wealth management consultant in London now, and married to a consultant and anesthesiologist. Another friend was a chief financial officer for a bespoke holiday company at the age of 26. Super smart. I knew he would be successful when he memorized every special move for every character on Tekken as a kid and was unbeatable. Not bad considering we are from a small rural town. My uncle. He's Good Will Hunting smart. Never went to college, but can solve any puzzle. Work any math you place before him. Fix cars. And has excellent recall. And with Coke bottle glasses even in his 70s can shoot a bottle cap off a fence post with a .22 pistol from 50 yards away. First shot every time. If years from now we find out he was some kind of CIA assassin, I'd believe it. His intelligence is terrifying. Classmate in law school. Had a PhD in science with kids from grade school. Got highest exam on bar. Highest grades in law school. He was a very sweet person. The way he answered questions, it was entirely obvious he was an absolute genius. He respectfully answered questions without coming across as a know-it-all. Everyone annoys me, but this guy was an angel, a term one of his employers, my older cousin, used. Smart guy started a law firm, and is kicking butt. Edit, added closing parent. A classmate of mine makes links between ideas and texts and disciplines astonishingly quickly. We'll be in a tutorial, and while I'm struggling to even get my head around the basic material, she's asking questions which are PhD worthy according to the lecturer. Also, she can break down complex ideas into tiny understandable parts for the rest of us average people, lol. I had a 3rd grade student I was assigned to work with for 2 weeks, but it turned into a 2-month job. Kid was diagnosed with autism, and it was pretty severe, and he had some strong paranoia and sensory issues that were never resolved because mom refused all forms of help. He would throw things if he got something wrong. Anytime someone was laughing, he thought it was about him, and he chopped his food up as much as possible because his preferred way of eating was for things to essentially be blended. He also read at a high school level. Was able to master any mathematic concepts taught to him. I think we got up to algebra and somewhat difficult geometry in my time with him. In no math whiz. Extremely intuitive with languages, and broke apart words into their smaller pieces based off of instruct. Loved Latin for this reason. Crushed any video game you put in front of him. And had absolute perfect pitch. By far the most intellectually capable person I've ever met. I haven't seen him in years and I really hope the system / his mom came to understand his potential. Edit. Thanks for silver. But a local teacher, a coffee gift card or some school supplies if you want to help further. My dad grew up in poverty. Won scholarships to top universities. Studied engineering. So intelligent that he dreamed in mathematical equations. But so kind that everyone loved to be around him. And most had no idea of the scope of his intellectual and professional accomplishments. He died 2 weeks ago unexpectedly. The literal international outpouring from his colleagues and childhood friends was astounding. I will miss him for my whole life. Edited to my dad taught me calculus, imaginary numbers, physics, how to play beer pong, and how to know when to dump my lame boyfriend. He was always at the forefront of technology, but didn't quite understand Reddit. He would be bemused and skeptical to know this is my top Reddit comment. To me, it seems totally fitting. Sounds cheesy, but my father used to hold the world record for the most top grades ever received. In the 80s, Britain's education system is different now, and once won all the subject prizes apart from one. At his school there were prizes for the person who received the top mark in each subject, and the only one he didn't win was geography, and went to a top exclusive grammar school. Then went on to be awarded a full scholarship to Cambridge, the joint best university in the UK with Oxford, and got a job in a pretty high bank as soon as he graduated. However, socially he is extremely awkward and was recently diagnosed as autistic, which explains a lot of his personality. As if it wasn't for my mother and his hobby of playing chess, which my mum pushed him to join a club, he wouldn't have any friends. However, my mum makes up for it. I knew a guy dumb as a box of rocks. He was successful and took care of his family. As far as I'm concerned, he was the smartest guy I know. He took a marginal intellect and turned it into a good life outcome. It doesn't get any smarter than that. A kid 2 grades below me is super intelligent. He's allergic to a lot of food items though. We always joked he dumped all his skill points into intelligence and none into basic life function. One of my high school science teachers, everyone just called him H. Apparently he figured out a system to win the lottery and hid $1 million. Twice. First time he bought his wife a restaurant. Second time he set himself up with a tree cutting business. Yet he still chose to teach high school. Great guy. Terrifying when he was pissed at us little shits though. The top ranker from the university in India where I graduated. The entrance exam is by far the toughest in India. And he scored nearly full marks on it. He graduated with a CGPA that was nearly perfect. Like 9.99. Went on graduate from Stanford with a PhD. Was CTO in Voodoo, etc. I have never seen such a quick mind. On the one hand he could do complex calculations in his head. On the other, abstract concepts in math and physics would come so easily to him. In national level crossword puzzles he would be streets ahead of the rest of the competition. And also a very nice person. A friend of mine I met when I was his manager, and he was a delivery driver. He was just there to put himself through school. He was one of those computer nerds that just loved everything about computers. As soon as he encountered one as a kid, he learned all the computer languages he could get a hold of. None of those for dummies books. He was fair beyond competent by the time he graduated high school, and was obviously looking towards a career in the field. Even though he had the knowledge, no one was going to look at him without some sort of degree. Thus, the delivering pizzas to get through school thing. As soon as he had the paper, he was snapped up by a relatively local company and went to work designing software technologies. He's since worked for various companies and makes a very comfortable living. The computer bit isn't even the thing that makes him smart. I know a lot of incredibly smart people, including 2 legit geniuses. This guy just has a way of grasping what you say on an intuitive level pretty much as soon as you say it. This is the kind of guy who will never tell you he's got a high IQ or even bring it up. He doesn't have to, you couldn't talk with him for but a few sentences before it's obvious. The best part is that he's also quite socially adept and hilarious in conversation, none of that awkward genius routine. This uncle of mine, when I was 4 who stole my nose,